Stories have been told since the beginning of humanity, and now movies have become a cornerstone of storytelling in the 21st century. Stories told through movies hold a certain power, a power to connect with us and take hold of our emotions, feelings, and memory. Because we know movies are more than just entertainment, and the stories we consume affect our souls, we will dive into what makes a good movie and what makes a bad movie. Welcome to the Powell Bros movie reviews. Today I am here with Trent Powell, and we are going to be talking about some movies. Alright, so this is our first podcast, and so we should probably go over what everybody can be expecting for the future and just our overall podcast. So I just figured I could kind of start, give you kind of my ideas, and then you can get in and get your ideas. I figure we'd be discussing all sorts of movies. We'll specifically dive into what makes a particular movie good or bad through a Christian worldview, and we'll discuss the Christian themes we see in each movie, especially the ones most people would never even expect. We'll also point out what truth the film we are reviewing is communicating, and that's kind of what I wrote down. That's what I think is what most people overall can expect from the podcast.
Yeah, that's about the gist of it. We're going to be covering all sorts of movies and discussing just the importance of story and how stories impact our lives and how they inspire us and encourage us and motivate us towards goodness. And in any movie, we're going to look at what is good, what is beautiful, and what is true. What makes a good movie, and obviously what makes a bad movie, and recognizing that, like, every movie tells a story. Like, you don't have character arcs. You don't have a movie that isn't telling a story. But the question is it a good story or is it a bad story? You don't want to watch a movie where Luke Skywalker is, sitting on a desert planet shooting womp rats and selling power converters all day. Some people may enjoy watching that, but watching a story of Luke Skywalker where he doesn't meet Obi-Wan Kenobi and learn about an ancient religion and then meet Han Solo and go on an adventure to go and save the galaxy or save the princess. Like, we want those kind of stories. We desire those kind of stories. We long to watch those unfold, and they teach us about the world and about what is right, what is wrong. And there's a standard. There's objective standards that we hold to, that we observe, and that we consider going into any story. No one goes into a movie with an empty slate. Like, you're going to be taught. You're going to be, dare I say, indoctrinated when you watch a movie. But the question is, what are you being taught, and how is it impacting you? And we want people to go and watch movies with open minds and making sure that they're knowing what are they being taught, what are they being told, what story is impacting the imagination of the viewer, and then teach people how to guard against bad stories and stories that teach us things that are not good and not true and not beautiful, because any movie can do that in a negative way and in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. I think you can really see how people can really be affected negatively from movies, especially with, just to point out the obvious, with Marvel, with where it's heading. You can just really see how they really aren't putting the time and effort that's needed to put into a story and make it great. And
right.
You can see that with their numbers.
These large corporations. Yeah.
You can see that with their numbers and how they are losing a lot of money, because even if the people realize it or not, the people that are watching, they do want a good story, and a bad story will not bring in the money. I think it's very, very evident. But I don't want to give.
We also see that with.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
We also see that with Star Wars right now. You had The Mandalorian, which really brought a lot of fans back after The Last Jedi, and then of course The Rise of Skywalker, which really just turned a lot of people off from Star Wars. But Mandalorian kind of brought a bunch of people together, and they told a really good, enjoyable story that felt like Star Wars and that was contained within Star Wars. And I think Jon Favreau did a great job with that first season and with the second season, though there was a lot of fan service throughout the second season, but it was enjoyable and it was still a good story. But then you get to the third one, and I mean, just look at the viewership, and it's like cut in half. They lost the audience from the beginning because the whole season was just a convoluted mess, and they just didn't stick to the formula that worked. But we see that with Marvel. We're seeing that with Star Wars. We're seeing these big corporations that are more about producing as much content as we can without actually worrying about the story that they're telling.
Yeah, it's very true. And we'll talk a lot about that, a lot of specifically Marvel in our next podcast and in the future as we kind of go through. So next I want to go over just why we're qualified. Like, why should anybody listen to us two brothers just talking about movies? Like, do we have any real reason to give people that why they should listen? I think our dynamic of what we do for a living is very interesting and will intrigue some people. So, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. We have a very interesting dynamic. And just to get into it, first off, I am a pastor. I have degree in pastoral ministry, and I've been in ministry for a few years now, shepherding my local church. And I come from a different background than a lot of other people and a lot of our listeners. And so I think it'll bring a good dynamic as I talk about story and themes within movies, but come at it from a more objective view and understanding, and recognize that we can enjoy movies, but there's caution when we go into a movie. There's things that we need to be looking for, and I just want to help people think through those things and help just even help parents as they show their children movies and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then me, I'm a filmmaker. I have made 2 movies. I've written lots of scripts. I've been in the film industry for over 5 years now, and so I've been well versed in the whole world of filmmaking, and anywhere from very large sets with Tom Hanks all the way down to just a couple people with their phones. So I have seen the good and the bad of storytelling. I've seen everything that has come out of filmmaking, and I really can tell what is good, what is bad. Like I've said, I've made a few movies, so
yeah, you have a good perspective on movies that's unique to a lot of people.
Yeah,
just being in the industry from the outside looking in, but still involved and pursuing filmmaking and being an indie filmmaker.
Yeah, so being in the industry, having an inside look to filmmaking and seeing stories being told through actors and even the cameraman, the audio guys, like you can really see how it all is made. And yeah, so when I watch a movie, I can really tell how much work was put into it, how much effort was into the writing. Like I can probably tell if somebody spent a year writing a script versus a couple weeks writing a script, and it can really really make a difference, the amount of effort people put into stuff. And with something like No Way Home, I feel like they didn't put any effort into it, and they just kind of threw a script together, and they were just like, put in all these characters, and who cares if the story makes sense, just throw it all in there, it doesn't matter. And you can really tell that.
Like we got Toby and Andrew, so we're good.
Yeah.
no, everyone will look past the plot.
Yeah. So I mean, being in the film industry for over 5 years, I can really tell the good and the bad. And when I watch a movie, certain movies impact you, and those movies that impact you are the ones with good stories.
Right.
So, yep. Next. I think that's about why we're qualified. I think that gives people a good reason to listen to us and to what we have to say about movies. And through this podcast, we'll grow in more understanding of movies and storytelling, and I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so next I want to talk about why is the podcast necessary? And you kind of touched on it with being a good opportunity for parents to listen to what we have to say and know that we're not going to give a thumbs up to a movie that people just shouldn't watch. I think we really want to expose the trash content that's out there. I mean, especially the nudity in films. I mean, it's astronomical how many movies have it in there, and it's ridiculous. And people say, it's for the art, it's just a part of acting. It's like, well, okay, then why is, I think one of those Christian filter websites talk about this. I've seen their commercial that like 90% of nudity in movies is female. So it's like, well, how's that art then? That's just, that's just perverts wanting to use their power and abuse to put a naked woman in front of them. And
women just selling their bodies.
Yeah. So it'd be a good outlet for parents to know, like, okay, well, they didn't give that a good review. And I think when it comes to nudity, it's either it's in there or not. I mean, IMDb will give you like a scale of like how sexual it is. It's like, well, is there nudity or not? If there's nudity, you probably shouldn't watch it. We'll be able to give a good tool for parents to know if there is nudity or not, and then also getting into the story, which is also, I would say, equally important with making sure that they're not being indoctrinated with some garbage content.
Right. Yeah, and it's worth noting that we may offend people, and we're not afraid to do so.
Yeah.
We're going to say it how it is, and yeah, we have our own different perspectives, but we're going to be consistent, and we're not worried about what others may think about us. It's just I think a disclaimer that's worth putting in here, but we're
for sure.
Yeah, we're also we'll be upfront and honest and raw at times.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also want to note that like this could also be a good tool for writers, young writers that haven't really gotten into the whole world of writing and writing scripts, and they're interested in what's a good story. This will be a great tool for them to listen to and to learn what makes a great story. And yeah, so it'll be a great outlet for them, a great tool for them. So yeah, now we can go into what to expect for season 1. We will be going in chronological order of the MCU. We'll go through every movie until we are caught up with the current releases. We haven't really decided if we're going to do any of the TV shows yet, but we might do some episodes on some completed seasons.
That'd be a big endeavor, but yeah,
it wouldn't be episode by episode. It'd probably be an overall season by season.
Yeah,
if we did something like that. But that's later in the MCU, so we have lots.
I have to watch Miss Marvel?
Yeah.
Or She-Hulk? I have not seen She-Hulk or Miss Marvel.
Yeah, no, we might not have to. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
maybe for our viewers' benefit.
Yeah,
we may.
Yeah. We'll be going through the MCU, starting with Captain America: The First Avenger, because we're chronological order, so that'll be number 1. So you can keep an eye out for that. Probably our next episode, we might be doing one more episode in between, just kind of discussing further our what to expect for season 1 as far as getting into the Marvel, because there is a lot to unpack there. But yeah, that's kind of a good expectation for season 1. It'll be a long season, getting through all the Marvel movies. If our viewers get tired of it, we can take a break maybe halfway through and throw in a mid-season break.
Yeah, we could even take it phase by phase. There's 4 phases.
True. Yeah, so absolutely.
You see
a lot to do there. A lot of work we can do there. A lot of opportunities, but our main focus for season 1 will be the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right.
Been wanting to go back through the MCU for a while.
Yeah, it'll be really cool to get to see all the good good movies, the good old days of Marvel.
Yeah, right.
um,
Oh, how I missed that.
yeah. But yeah, I think that sets a good expectation for people for our podcast. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they can expect. If there's anything you want to add,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, I mean we're not experts, but we love movies, we love stories. We both grew up pretty much throughout high school watching the MCU, and and just but even outside the MCU, just always loving and enjoying films, and we've learned a lot from our time of studying movies and films, and Tobiah working on movies and writing his own stuff and producing his own movies, and yeah, we're no experts, but we hope to give helpful insight, and we want this to be a good tool for people that they can go to. And even as we go through every MCU movie, it's like, oh, like I want to watch Iron Man 3 again, and then if one of our listeners wants to listen to our episode on Iron Man 3 and be able to be able to watch it with more discernment, and just allow that to be a good tool for them.
Absolutely. All right, I think that wraps up our first episode.
All right.
Thank you so much to all the listeners, and we are looking forward to season 1 and going through all the Marvel movies.
Yeehaw.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.